love and positive vibes. Allow me to start by thanking our new subscribers and our returning subscribers. We value you, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. You are the real deal. Now today I saw a video somewhere and it really shocked me, and at the same time I realized there is some truth in it. We have been told that the African countries, the Caribbeans, where the black people are, there is poverty, there is famine, there is lack of education, there is lack of resources, there is all that. And we keep on talking about the white people. We blame them for stealing from us, for taking away our things. And little did I know, they really know what we complain about, and they really know what we keep on saying. I listened to a white man, and he was actually telling us, stop your shenanigans. We have stolen nothing from you. And when I listened to him, I realized that there is some truth in it. Could we be selling ourselves? Could we be selling our land? Could we be selling our children's inheritance? Could we be selling our resources to people, and then we come and say they are stealing from us? We have said now and again, and yesterday I shot a video about the great people in Jamaica that stood and refused Western influence. And I remember there is somebody who came to the comment section and told me, Lam, Michael Mandri was actually tried to be killed 3 times. When you see people trying to kill you, you have the potential, you have the bombshell that can change the situation, that can actually influence people positively to not see themselves as losers, to not see themselves as people who are not worthy, to not see themselves as the second material. Like we have always seen ourselves, the Africans and the Caribbeans, anywhere where there is a black man, we feel that the other people are better than us. The other people are well placed than us. The other people are well educated than us. The other people are greater thinkers than us. But the other day I realized, actually I shot a video, and we found that what they have are actually from Africa, from the black people. We worked for them in their plantations. We innovated for them and they took those innovations. But I don't want to go to all that. This guy, I want you to listen to him, and then I'll come back and try to summarize what he's talking about. So listen to him and then I'll come back.
If you've been on TikTok for a while, you must have heard about a ton of Africans telling you that Europeans stole Africa's resources. Now, there's a lot to say about that. First and foremost, most of these resources are still in Africa, and they're not being stolen by Europeans. They're actually being sold to Europeans by the African state leadership. Your own elites are robbing you. It's not us doing it, not anymore. The real issue, of course, is why aren't Africans using their own resources to do things? Why does Mr. Beast have to go to Kenya to build water wells? Why didn't the Kenyan government do it themselves? I suppose the Kenyan government could have done it themselves. They just chose not to do it. Nigeria is now a country of almost 220 million people, the largest country in Africa. But they only produce about 10% of the electricity that a small country like Hungary. Hungary only has 10 million people, but they produce 10 times as much electricity as Nigeria does. I mean, I know you want to have your Wakanda, right? But do you expect white people to give it to you? No, you're supposed to build it yourself. Having said all this, it is of course obvious that we Europeans in the north need to prepare for a possible, potential African rise in terms of technology and therefore also in terms of military capacity. And that means we in Europe need to already start looking ahead and thinking ahead about how we are going to win the war against Africa, because there will be a future war between Europe and Africa.
And some of you will tell me that what we are saying on this app is not going anywhere. You can see that they are hearing everything we are saying. Everything the youths are saying, we are hearing. If I show you the kind of DMs that I have, the kind of things people send in my DM, you'll be shocked that I'm still on this app talking. Let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, our leaders are the ones killing us. You have heard from him. He said, our resources are being sold to the West by our African leaders, which is true. The West is not entirely gone. The West are the ones manipulating our leaders because they are still here. Some of our leaders are like puppets, controlled by the West. Someone like Gaddafi, they saw the kind of development he was doing to his people, and they manipulated his people against him. If you see any African leader that the West doesn't like, that the West is kicking against, know that that African leader is doing something good in the life of his people. Look at the young man in Guinea. How many coups have been plotted against him since he overthrew the president? He has chased France out of his country. Now, people are even mobilizing against him, including the Nigeria's president. So guys, let me tell you all, African youths, this is the time. This is the only tool we have to stop this. This is the time for us to let them know that we know what they are up to. These our leaders are up to. For how long are we continue to fold? We are going to continue to fold our arms and watch our brothers drown in the Mediterranean Sea in search of greener pastures with our colonizers. For how long are we going to watch our sisters being brutalized in Saudi Arabia by the people they are working with them as mates? For how long are our graduates in Africa going to continue sleeping under the bridges with certificates in their hands with no jobs? For how long are the African youths ready to die because they don't have good healthcare system? African youths, you might have 100 followers, you might have 200. Speak life into this nation. It's time for you to stand up. We cannot continue to suffer like this. We deserve better. Our motherland has blessed us. Our nation has blessed us with everything. Without Africa, the West is nothing. Everything about the West comes from Africa. They cannot even talk about history. They cannot even talk about their own history without mentioning Africa. It's impossible. So guys, this is the time. I won't overemphasize. I won't over-labor this point, but this is the time. I will continue talking. For those of you who always come for me and say, oh, leave our president. I will not leave any president. If you are doing anyhow, or you collect anyhow. If you lie, you come to my DM, or you send your people to my DM to threaten me. That is the least they can do. They will not shut this mouth up. The hunger for change in Africa is in me, and you cannot even kill it. If you are an African youth and you are not tired of this suffering, then something is wrong with you. Something is really wrong with you. Listen to how this man is saying it. Was it difficult for the Kenyan government to provide its people with borehole waters? Why does it have to be Mr. Beast coming all the way to come and do it? Is it difficult for the Kenyan government to do it? No. But why do they choose to treat their own people like this? I'm sorry that Kenya collected a stray bullet here. Even Nigeria is used as an example. Nigeria cannot boast of electricity. A giant of Africa cannot boast of electricity. The person that did us this in Africa needs to pay so that we should be free. I've said my own. If you like, you sit quiet.
Guys, I know you have listened to him. It's quite a shame to the African leaders, to the Caribbean leaders, to be told that it is your leaders that have sold your land to us. It is your leaders that have sold their resources to us, your resources to us. It is your leaders that have actually made us to take what belongs to you. This is very, very true. When you look at Africa and what is happening in Africa and even the Caribbeans, it is 100% true what this man is talking about. We have sold ourselves back to slavery. We have sold ourselves back to neo-colonialism. We have allowed ourselves to be taken back by our greediness, our selfishness, our lack of concern, and our self-gain. And that is why this guy came up and said, it's not about us taking what belongs to you. It's about you selling to us your avocado and you want to have it back. It cannot be possible. We sold to them our inheritance. We have sold to them our resources. We have sold to them our everything. And yet we want to have it? That is quite impossible. And therefore this guy, when he talked about that, I looked at Africa and I looked at the different countries. Actually, I looked at our nation, Kenya. And I think it was mentioned somewhere. Kenya has got all the resources. But look at what we are going through. Nigeria has got all the resources. Look at what they are going through. And even the Caribbeans, I always talk about Jamaica. They have great potential. They have the resources. They have the ability to be the next Dubai in the world. But what has happened to the leadership of all these countries? Are we really selling our people to the colonial masters? Are we actually neglecting and letting us be slaves once again by selling what we have? Just like this man was talking about. I remember I was looking at the achievement of Ibrahim Traore. That is the right pronunciation. And when I looked at Traore, I have seen great potential and great achievement from this man. This man is the president of Burkina Faso. And he has achieved a lot without relying on the Western powers, without being aided by the Western powers, without borrowing loans that you pay at high interest from the West. He has actually utilized what Burkina Faso has. And he has utilized the people of Burkina Faso to build their own economy. Like when I look at our nation here in Kenya, we are being taxed. And it is all right to go through taxation because a country cannot grow without taxation. But when I imagine that those taxes we are paying go to pay debts, it breaks my heart. Because if that tax was accumulated without corruption, without selfishness, we can build a strong Kenya without necessarily borrowing loans. And that is what this guy is telling us. We go and borrow loans from IMF and World Bank. We pay at very huge interest. Because I'm also going to bring a video of this lady who was talking to us, Africans and the Caribbeans, about what is going on. We have allowed ourselves to be dictated for, to be controlled, to be actually inferior, to be trodden on. And we feel that we cannot move because from the beginning, we were told you cannot do anything on your own. You need us to be able to do that. And that is why you find when the minerals are discovered in Africa or the Caribbeans, we cannot rely on ourselves to actually extract, market, and sell the products. We call the same people to come and actually do extraction, do the mining, if it's, for example, gold, do the processing, do the marketing, do the selling. And that is why we get a very small percentage from what is coming in our area, and that is what this guy is talking about. We have allowed them to take our resources. We have allowed them to come and manufacture for us, extract for us, mine for us, produce for us, market for us, and sell for us. And that is why know the people that you have sold to them your resources to manage them and to do all the shenanigans they want to do with the resources. And that is what has happened to us Africans and the Caribbeans. That is why we remain backward. That is why we remain underdeveloped. That is why we are behind. Because we have allowed it. I thought what is going on in Burkina Faso is worth being praised, being eager, being an inspiration to all the leaders in Africa. But I got a shock of my life to realize that none of the presidents in the other regions, in the other countries in Africa, can actually congratulate Ibrahim Traoré for what he's doing in his country. None of the leaders has come out to tell Traoré that you are doing a good job. You are showing us the tingo. You are showing us the way to go. You are showing us that we can on our own. You are showing us that Africa is capable. Instead, the same Africans, Nigerian president is actually up in arms against Burkina Faso. We are used to beat our own. We are used to bring down our own. We are used to destroy each other. What is wrong with us? What happened to us? What curse befell us? It is quite unfortunate for a white man to come and lecture us that we are our own problems, that we are our own distractors. Because for him to come and tell us that, it meant that you people, you have caused all this. You people, you are the reason you are where you are. You people, you are the one who has sold your country to us. You people, you are the one who has given us your resources to use. And I want to believe, because I listened to this woman who was talking in one of the forums, and she said that unless we wake up, unless we decide to fight for ourselves, unless we decide to unite and help each other to uplift each other, we will remain there down, lamenting, complaining, and saying that it is these people that have taken our land, but for sure, we are the ones who have allowed them. This woman is actually a very strong woman, and she came forward and told us all the other countries in the world have been paid their reparations. But Africa and Caribbeans, because I remember there is this video I shot about Jamaica, and the Jamaican people came to the comment section and they were telling us they have not been paid their reparations. This is the money paid for people being taken as slaves, work for the white people, because whatever they have, the black people contributed a lot to what they have. They worked for them without pay. They worked for them without food. They worked for them without better housing. They worked for them through very harsh conditions. And that is where they got their wealth. Because when we look at Jamaica and the Port Royal, the trade that was going on, the pirates, the goods they used to bring, whatever they used to do, the Africans were very, very much involved in the sugar plantations, and they really helped these people to be who they are today. We also came across innovations that were initially Jamaicans and even here in Kenya, but they were taken away and they were considered they are not their own innovations, and they were used to develop the economy of those countries. And therefore reparation is something that should be considered for all. But Africa has not been paid. The other regions have been paid because they have united together. They have combined effort. Maybe you can first listen to the video of this lady, and then I'll come back and sum up.
The abuse is not just for Africans on the continent. The abuse is for black people wherever you find us. I'm going to share with you some basic facts. You see, our story is a simple one. Our story is of truth and facts, which are two constants that do not change. And all we need to do is give the world an overdose of our truth and insist on it. As we speak today, I'm going to take you back centuries, long before the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves. There was some serious resistance when the occupiers from the West came to Africa, contrary to what some might think. They didn't just give up their children, but the fighting began long before slavery. And the resistance was those who led them, the majority of them, their heads, as we speak today, are sitting in jars in Europe. Are you aware of that? Our ancestors who fought the wars of resistance, their heads, their remains, are sitting in jars throughout Europe. And the same people have the audacity to come to Africa and talk to us about human rights. But what's even more disturbing is that we entertain them and we don't remind them of the skeletons in their closet. As we speak today, the priceless artifacts that they stole from all over Africa are sitting in their museums throughout Europe. And when you and I, when we visit Europe, we pay to see what belongs to us. Evidence of theft, evidence of murder in display, on display, in plain sight. As we speak today, black people are listed as 3/5 of a human being in the US Constitution. As we speak today, the redlining continues. As we speak today, African countries are being made to pay ridiculous interest rates on loans that they should not be paying for. As we speak today, reparations are due. Everybody else has been given reparations, expect us. The question then becomes, what is wrong with this picture? Why aren't you and I standing up and demanding that what is right must be done? I can tell you why. Because no other race would stand for a minute what is being done to us. How long do you think a finger of a British soldier lasts in Zimbabwe? How long do you think a thumb of a German soldier lasts in Namibia? Not even a minute. They would storm in, kill hundreds, if not thousands of people just to recover that one finger. Why is it that we are unable to come together and speak our truth and demand that what needs to be done must be done? It's because they defeated us where it matters the most, which is the mind. It started with the missionaries in Africa long before slavery. They were sent by the Roman Catholic Church to subdue the Africans, make them believe that when you get slapped, turn the other cheek, and that your riches are in heaven. So by the time they followed with the colonizers to reap and rape Africa, we were already brainwashed. We were meant to believe everything African was bad and undesirable, and everything European was better. And the same brainwashing continued as our children were taken out of Africa enslaved. It continued on the plantations, color gradations, light-skinned versus dark-skinned, field workers versus kitchen workers. To this day, we suffer from the legacy of slavery and the legacy of colonization. For how long are we going to continue to suffer from this affliction? For it is singularly the reason why we are not able to come together just like other races and nationalities have done in this melting pot that is the United States of America. When you ask for the voices of the Irish Americans loud and clear, Jewish Americans loud and clear, German Americans, Italian Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans, their voices are loud and clear. But when you ask for the voices of us black people, you might as well go to the graveyard, because we are missing in action. We were taught, we were brainwashed into not even loving ourselves as individuals, let alone each other. We were taught not to trust one another. We were taught not to believe that my brother can, my sister can, but somebody else who doesn't look like you and I is better. The question I have for all of you, just close your eyes and think about your children, your grandchildren. Is this the world you want to leave behind for them? If the answer is no, then you need to have a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Because it is the image in the mirror that must change. It is the image in the mirror that must understand that you are sick from this affliction of the legacy of slavery. You are not sick at home. You are not sick in the doctor's waiting room. You are not sick in the hospital ward. You are sick in the intensive care. How long are we going to continue to support other people's agendas? Those who stood up to fight during the civil rights movement, during the Pan-African days in Africa, civil rights in the United States, they were all silenced. We are emerging out of a period of 20 to 30 years where just nothing is going on. We are all fast asleep. When are we going to wake up? Reverend Al Sharpton is saying, the time to wake up is now. Reparations now. We know all the companies that benefited from slavery. We have their name. We have the list. They must pay. As we speak, many have pledged their contributions. Guess what's going to happen, my brothers and sisters? Because we are not organized, we will never realize those funds. And they will hide behind, oh, they are disorganized. They don't know what they are doing. I am now going to be asking Reverend Al Sharpton to lead us as we demand those reparations. We need to register a global Pan-African fund that can make sure that we have development in black communities where it belongs. Those funds must be organized. Those funds must be paid for. Reparations for black people now.
I hope you have heard what this woman is talking about. It is shocking. when we remember the guy, the white man, who was actually telling us that we were responsible for what we are going through, and you compare with this woman who is telling us, Africa and Caribbeans you have to arrest. You have to refuse to go to be there down and know that you are created fear-free and wonder-free. Believe in yourself that you can without necessarily relying on other people, relying on people to come and do things for you. And that is what the President Traore has shown us, that Africa is capable, that Africa can rely on themselves. We have seen Ibrahim Traore building houses for his people, doing infrastructure in his country, building a hospital, the greatest hospital that can compete with hospitals that are abroad, single-handedly, without asking for donations, without asking for grants, without borrowing loans. And that is what Africa should believe in. We do not have to keep on borrowing loans. We do not have to keep on asking for money when we can use our own resources. I remember we had a president here in Kenya, President Mwai Kibaki. When he was in power, he did a lot. He uplifted the economy. He single-handedly carried out the project without relying on loans, meaning that Africa is capable of growing our own economy. Africa and Caribbeans are capable of standing on their own and developing their country without involving anyone. And this is what these people are calling us upon to do. This lady and this white gentleman is telling us, you people, you should wake up. You should realize you are your own enemies. You are the reason why you are where you are. You are the reason you are behind. You are the reason you are underdeveloped. You are the reason we are going through famine, through poverty, through hardship. Because you can change the narrative by working for yourself, relying for yourself, not always borrowing loans that are not utilized properly, that go into the pockets of people, and then you are left again crying that we don't have resources. So it's a high time Africa unites, Africa wakes up, Africa believes in itself together with the Caribbean, and they stand tall and build a strong Africa-Caribbean that will go higher in terms of prosperity and accountability. Thank you once again for listening to us. See you during the next video. Bye-bye and God bless.